at 4:17 hours in the early gray of dawn. The Combat Information Center aboard the USS Monterey lit up with dozens of red blips. 31 contacts, small, fast-moving, racing in from multiple directions. The captain's voice cut through the tension. "Hold your fire. We wait for them to make the first move." Moments later, a single flash erupted on the horizon. And that's when everything changed. Welcome to Naval Edge. Strategy, firepower, history. In today's story, we witness what happens when patience, precision, and power collide at sea. It was late spring in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most strategically vital maritime choke points in the world. Nearly 20% of the world's petroleum flows through these narrow waters, a place where political rivalries and military power constantly brush against each other. The USS Monterey, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser, is part of a carrier strike group escorting a resupply convoy to the Arabian Sea. Her mission ensures safe passage, maintain freedom of navigation, and monitor any unusual Iranian naval activity. The crew knew the waters well, and they also knew the region's history. Encounters between U.S. and Iranian forces were not rare, but this morning carried an unusual stillness. Communications chatter was quieter than normal. Fishing vessels had cleared out early. It felt like a calm before something unseen. At 3:46, the first signs appeared. The AN/SPY-1 radar began picking up small surface contacts at the very edge of detection range. Too small to be warships, too fast to be cargo vessels. Sonar operators reported irregular underwater noise patterns, like engine cavitation from multiple small craft. Then came the intercepted radio bursts, short, coded transmissions in Farsi, bouncing between at least 4 different senders. On the bridge, the watch officer leaned toward the captain. "Sir, contacts closing fast. Recommend Condition 1, full battle readiness." The captain nodded. "Set Condition 1 throughout the ship. All stations maintain weapons hold until ordered." Down below, sailors tightened straps on flak jackets, loaded belts of .50 caliber ammunition, and manned the Phalanx CIWS systems. Helicopter crews prepped the MH-60R Seahawks for rapid launch. By 4:05, the unidentified contacts had closed to just 9 nautical miles. Through binoculars, lookouts could make out the wakes, long white trails slicing through the water. At least 3 dozen small attack craft, many flying Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps' Navy flags, moving in tight, coordinated formations. Bridge, CIC. Hostile intent confirmed. "They're closing in." Ignoring all hails, came the voice over the comms. The Monterey's crew issued 3 separate radio warnings in English and Farsi. "Unknown vessels. You are approaching a United States Navy warship. Alter course immediately or you may be fired upon." No response. Instead, the boats accelerated. A swarm of Bagram-style fast attack craft, each armed with heavy machine guns, rocket-propelled grenades, and possibly short-range anti-ship missiles, began forming a crescent-shaped encirclement around the cruiser. On the bridge, the captain's order came crisp and calm. "Maintain course." "Do not engage unless fired upon." The tactical decision was deliberate. The United States Navy operates under strict rules of engagement in the Gulf. Firing first could trigger a political firestorm. The crew waited. Every second felt like a minute, and then the first shot came. At 4:17, a burst of heavy-caliber fire erupted from one of the Iranian craft. Tracers streaking across the bow of the Monterey, another boat launched a shoulder-fired missile, its smoke trail curling upward. That was all the confirmation the captain needed. Weapons free. Engage all hostile targets. Instantly, the ship came alive. 38 25mm chain guns roared to life, spitting streams of fire at the closest boats. The 50 caliber M2 Browning machine guns mounted on the port and starboard decks tore through fiberglass hulls. The Phalanx CIWS, as a radar-guided Gatling gun capable of 4,500 rounds per minute, spun up with a mechanical whine, shredding incoming rockets mid-flight. Overhead, one of the MH-60R Seahawks lifted off, banking hard toward the swarm. Its door gunner unleashed a torrent of rounds, while the helicopter's crew locked on to hostile craft with a GM-114 Hellfire missiles. Explosions dotted the sea as Iranian boats disintegrated under concentrated fire. Inside the Combat Information Center, the tactical display began clearing. Red blips blinking out one by one. The enemy tried evasive maneuvers, zigzagging and using smoke screens. But the Monterey's SPY-1 radar and targeting systems tracked them relentlessly. The success of the defense came down to layered engagement zones, a core U.S. Navy principle. The outer ring consisted of the Seahawks, able to engage hostile craft before they closed within missile range. The mid-range defense was the Monterey's Mk-38 guns and 50 cals designed for precision at a few thousand yards, and the innermost shield. The Phalanx CIWS was the ship's last line, capable of intercepting projectiles just seconds from impact. Each layer worked in harmony, coordinated by the Aegis Combat System, which processes radar and sensor data in real time, signing targets and tracking threats simultaneously. The captain's decision to wait for the first shot ensured the engagement was legally defensive, protecting the crew from accusations of aggression while still allowing full use of the ship's firepower. Analysts later noted that Iran's swarm tactic was designed to overwhelm by numbers, a strategy that had worked in smaller skirmishes in the past. Against a ship like the Monterey, however, with its integrated air and missile defense systems, it was a gamble doomed to fail. By 4:39, the sea was littered with debris. Of the original 31 fast attack craft, more than half were destroyed. The rest retreated at high speed toward Iranian territorial waters. The Monterey sustained no casualties and only minor superficial damage from near-miss impacts. Hours later, U.S. Central Command released a statement confirming the engagement, framing it as a defensive action in international waters. Conversely, if the captain had hesitated longer, Iranian craft might have gotten within boarding range, a dangerous scenario that could have resulted in hostages. damaged equipment, or even the loss of the ship. The encounter proved the razor-thin line between deterrence and escalation in modern naval warfare. What would you have done in this situation? Would you have waited or struck first? Comment your thoughts below and subscribe to Naval Edge for more naval war stories, global military breakdowns, and high-stakes encounters at sea.